Hello, welcome to this series of Masters Theory Tips for the IGCSE ICT Theory Paper number 1. We're going to look at November-October 2014, version 3. We're going to concentrate on databases, and these questions are generally towards the middle to end of the paper as it gets a little bit more difficult. So in this question we have a sports club uses a computer database to keep records of members in one file and records of the sport bookings in another file. Here is a record in the sport bookings file. So we can see here that in this record we have labels, okay, and we have data in those fields, okay, and we can tell straight away sports is not very unique, sports hall is not very unique, sport code is kind of unique, and member number is also unique. So it gives you a very good indication of what you're working with here. Now, looking at the question, the members file and the sports bookings file will be saved as separate tables. So you've got to imagine that this would be a table and the sports file would be a table. Describe other steps which would be required in order to create a relational database. Now, at the moment, because they're both separate, we need to link them. Now, I would use this for the sport bookings, okay, and I would use this, okay, for the members. So each member would have a new unique member number, and each booking would be linked to a sport code. So in order for them to have a relationship, we would use the primary key from here to that booking, and vice versa for every booking that you use. This primary key would then be used on this table as a foreign key. Hence you have a primary key and you need a foreign key. Some students might find that they prefer calling the primary key the key field, which is also a valid answer. What we're now left with is saying that due to these primary, foreign or key fields, they are identified so that they can be linked together. So that's the whole point of a relational database, is that when you have two, you link them together. Now, the advantages of having a relational database, which is not tested in your practical paper, is so that it saves a lot of time for the user. The reason for this is when you put a member into a database, that data doesn't need to be repeated again. Okay, this is called data duplication. Okay, but all you need to say is data does not have to be typed twice. That's your main reason for a relational database, is this: data does not have to be typed in twice. Therefore, if you're only doing things once, it's going to be quicker. So it's going to be quicker to use, it's going to be quicker to edit, it's going to be quicker to update, a member. So if that member comes in, you can just get their surname, and voila, you can quickly search with their surname and have that up and ready to edit. It should also allow fewer errors to occur, because there's less likelihood of data being duplicated, so there's going to be less errors. If you imagine the same person, John Smith, coming to the video store, and there's 10 John Smiths, very likely, okay, because it's a common surname, but every member has a unique key field, which will be unique and won't be duplicated. And this other plus side, which you may not even notice, is it will require less storage requirements. Okay, even though it's just a database, everything has a limit. Your phone has a phone book, and back in the day when there wasn't much memory on a phone, there's only so many contacts you can have on a phone before your memory space runs out. And it nicely moves on to asking you to explain why a hard disk is used to store data files. Well, this is just a kind of common answer, not generally specific for databases, but the common reasons is a hard disk is probably the biggest form of primary or possibly secondary storage data if it's an external hard drive, but this is just a hard drive. So your main point is it has a vast amount of information that can be stored on there. Okay, so I'm just going to abbreviate this, but don't do it for the real exam. It's also, because it's the primary storage location, it has very fast data access speeds. Okay, so if you're accessing members and they're on the phone, you want to be as quickly as you can. A hard drive or a hard disk will have very fast data transfer between accessing the data on a hard drive to be displayed on the screen. Okay, and the most common and obvious one is most computers come with a hard drive already. So most PCs come with a hard drive. Okay, so quite an easy first half for. In the next part of this database question, we have a 2 mark on name an appropriate validation check for each of the member number and the sport code, and it gives you an example of the conditions here. Alright, do not use the same check twice. Because it is only 2 marks, they only want you to put your best and only answer here and one here, which has to be different. If you then go a bit wild and put all your validation checks there to impress the examiner, they can only take the first one anyway. So try not to use up all the space and use the first and best answer. Now the member number, I would say the first one would be a length check, okay, because when you look at what it's giving you, it's between 50000 and 5499. A length check, for example, of a telephone number has a certain amount of characters, okay, so a length check in this scenario is only to this size. So you're saying that the length is only between 500,000 to 549999. Okay. A length check can also be set up to allow characters to be entered within a certain range, and that's what this is. So I would say my strongest answer would be length check. Okay. Other examples which are also valid would be type check. So if you begin to set up a system A type check will ensure that the correct type of data is entered into that field. So a type check would only accept the values between 50000 and 549999. Okay, and the next one would be a range check. So a range check is commonly used when you're working with data which consists of numbers, currency, or dates and time. A range check also allows you to set suitable boundaries. So here are our set boundaries. Okay, so we could also use a valid range check. Okay. Moving on to the sport code. Sport code is slightly different. You could use length check again, because all sports codes consist of 3 letters followed by 2 numbers. So just say, for example, we've got 3 letters and 2 numbers. Okay. So already a length check is what we discussed earlier. We can count the amount of characters that are in there. Alright, so when you're setting up a system, a length check can also be set up to allow characters to be entered within a certain range. Alright, very good for postcodes as well, or PO box numbers. So you can either use length check again. An alternative that we've not used before, which is also valid, would be something called format check. A format check will allow things in a certain pattern. So as you can see, we have AAA01, so it's a particular format that we need, which is 3 letters and 2 numbers. So we can use a format check, and that's it for the validation there. You've pretty much covered a fair few there. Then it's saying when members making a booking, they want to show their membership card which holds their details electronically. Name the device which will be used to input their details from the card. Now it's actually sneakily giving you a input device. Okay, is it an automatic? Is it a manual? Okay, if it's going to be a manual one, that means the person will have to manually enter in the membership card number, but this wants it to be done electronically, so we want some sort of electronic way of doing this. So we can either use a chip reader, so you just swipe the card in the reader and it can do it electronically, or it's also known as a magnetic strip reader. Okay, so you can see how this database question is spiraling into other areas. And finally, just to end with on the databases, it's about integrity. And this question is asking, give 2 reasons why this method is better than typing in the number in. So quite obviously, what are the advantages of this input device? So this is normally at the beginning of the paper, where you have to kind of pick and choose from multiple choice questions, and this one you just simply say it's going to be faster to enter data into the system. Alright, and also it's going to be more accurate. Okay, computers don't make mistakes, it's only the person that uses it where errors occur, or if errors do occur, it's most likely going to be fewer than a human, so you put fewer errors, and that's for 2 marks. Hope you enjoyed this video, and good luck.